So hello and welcome along. This is our Q&A podcast. As you see, I have a guest with me for once. Yay, the lovely Zoe once again. This is the first. We can do many of these if you wish us to, and we'll see how we get on. So if you do have any questions that you want to have answered, we have a number of questions that have already been asked. If you do have any further ones that you want to post, please do feel free. Hopefully we'll see them coming up on the right hand side. We can see people joining us as we go through.
I really wish we could see everybody in person.
It would be lovely. But
Every time I see someone's name come up, I'm like, oh, I miss you guys.
Yeah, we do miss you. It seems very strange. So yes, for everybody else that is around, obviously Monday 5 o'clock we had we were planning for Bradford and Avon, and then by 6 o'clock everything ka-chunk, completely and utterly gone. So people have been asking how we are and all that type of stuff. We are okay. However, obviously I have the lovely prospect of zero income for the foreseeable future. So I'll go through a variety of bits and pieces on how we can try and improve that as we go forwards. One of the main questions that's been asked is, when are we likely to open again? If you want to ask Boris Johnson that same question, that would be lovely as well. So we have no idea, but it's definitely not going to be for at least the next couple of months, that's for sure. So we need to come up with some inventive ways of trying to be happy and all of that, and keeping the dancing community all going okay. Right, so let's just start off with a few tips that people have asked. Okay, so one of the things that people have said is, how do we keep kind of our mental health, all of that type of thing, happy? So a few tips for you here. So if you're at home as a couple, try every single day to put on a track and have a dance to it. Okay, just to remind yourself that A, you can dance, and B, that you like listening to music. Listening to music always helps. So do try and do that. Hello everybody that's joining, by the way. It's nice to see you all. If you are by yourself, then Sorok's got the fantastic option, if you go to sorok.com, of dancing your pants. It's a lovely name for it. So there's loads and loads of videos on there. There's couples videos on there. There are also a number of solo videos on there. So if you do want to have a look at those, there's line dances, there's how to do popping. I shall be doing that one myself very shortly. It's right up my street. So if you want to do any of those, dancing your pants, at sorok.com. I think it's /DIYP, which is always quite interesting. So do have a look at that. There's loads of different line dances, loads of stuff on YouTube as well. If you do want to do private lessons, then I am still running private lessons. So do come along. You can book a slot. I have more availability now.
We will warn you though, you are subject to thermometer testing before you are allowed in the dance studio, just to check that everybody's well and healthy.
One of the things which we will be setting up very, very shortly, and feel free to message us if you want to, are some video clinics. So you don't even have to leave your own home. We'll do it as an interactive action, and I'll be able to see you dancing, and you'll be able to see what we're doing as well, or I'm doing. So we'll be able to do video clinics. We'll do first 30-minute slots or hour slots, depending on what you want, and you can pay for those ones if you do wish to. It's one way to try and keep some revenue coming in as well. Okay, so if you do want to do a video clinic with myself, or even with Zoe as well, then feel free to do that. Okay, hello everybody. Lindsay Bennet says, show us your pants. No.
We should have put some on over our trousers, maybe.
This is the classic newscaster's broadcast, I'm afraid, and that from the up part there, as you see, I've even gone for the Sorok branding a little bit. From down underneath, I am completely naked, so that's not something you really want to see. So there we go. Last bit that people have been saying about doing this, and I think it's a really nice idea to do. A while ago at Big Bath Bashes, we used to do small individual cabarets for a minute, and at teacher slots for the cambers and all that type of stuff, we do a minute worth of a cabaret. And actually, if you are a couple and you are at home, then actually now's a great time to try and actually put together a cabaret if you want to. Maybe a minute's worth, if doing 3.5 minutes would be too much, but just try doing something like that. Try doing something fun to remind you of how much you like to dance. So yes, we are spoiled sports, but there we go. Right. Okay, so you don't want to see our pants, no, not in the slightest. So there we go. Right, so I've got a number of questions from everybody. If you do have any more questions, as I say, feel free to put them on the side. We are seeing people joining all the time. I brought Zoe along primarily to read that part, so she can actually see if there's any questions. You actually need to read that part as well.
Fail on my part. I'm just sat here mute.
So we'll try and I've got 12 or so questions ready to go. Some of them are more in depth than others, and we'll try and interject with those questions that are coming up as we go along. Okay?
It'd be really good to hear from all of the other teachers as well. Hello, I can see lots of you joining there, and hope you're all well and bearing up under all this craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to share with everyone what's going on in your areas as well. So do put out any messages of what's happening.
Okay. Please don't let Lindsay lead you astray, Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough. Right, so there's a question from Andy there actually. Why the emphasis on dancing in the slot when a number of moves go round and round? There is no right or wrong answer of how to dance. I always state this fact of there are different styles of dancing. There's in salsa, for instance, you have rotational salsa and you have line salsa. Both are absolutely fine, both completely correct to do. Why do we encourage people to dance on the slot? Mainly because as a lead, I will know where my follow is going to go, and as a follow, I'll know where my lead's going to go. It also means that when you start to do certain moves and certain much more high level moves, then actually you can do them with confidence and know that your partner's going to be in the right place. If there are moves that go round and round, for instance, pivots in ballroom, for instance, where you're in hold and you're going round and round, absolutely, there are circular moves. I can remember a basket move where you end up in a kind of triangular shape and you go round and round and then unrotate. There's nothing wrong with doing any of that, as long as the basis for your dancing, in our way of teaching anyway, is to actually stay on the slot, because that actually, for me, is much more stylish as a dance and looks better and feels better as well. Don't know what you think about that, Zoe. That's a very Radio 2 moment there. I do apologise.
I think just the style has changed over the years as different genres of dancing come into play. So we've obviously seen the growth of West Coast swing, and that has really caused a lot of people to focus with dancing on the slot or staying in line, and I think that has just influenced the modern jive world and the way that we dance on the slot. So I think just our moves have evolved and things have changed over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I've been teaching for over 20 years, and in truth, when we first started dancing, we taught everybody to dance on the slots. We never mentioned it necessarily, but actually in classes you're all in rows and you all go from one side to the other, so it was always taught to go on the slot. In freestyle it then ended up becoming much more rotational, and the reason for that, the main reason that people go rotational is actually on a return. So if you think about doing a high first, for instance, and you do the underarm turn, then actually when you do the return for that, what lots and lots of people do is the ladies step to the left, the men will step to the left, and then that starts the rotation. And once you start rotating, then it can be sometimes quite difficult to rotate, or to stop rotating, I should say. So if you actually keep your feet together when you do your return, or do a travelling return which goes along the slot again, then that will make it A, a more stylish dance, and B, actually it will feel better to do it as well. So yeah, that's our reasons. Also, as Kay's put there, it's much better on a busy dance floor to dance slotted. You're not going to crash into people left, right and centre. I know if I'm dancing at the Chippenham Chills Sunday, for instance, which can often be a very, very busy event, I can put myself next to other dancers and I know they're going to be slotted dancers, and therefore I feel confident to go up and down the slot quite comfortably. And that makes it much easier to do it. So if they were going rotational, literally they'd just crash into me and my partner the entire time. So
it's very disconcerting for ladies when you're being led into lots of different people because you're pinging off at different angles all the time. So
indeed.
Yeah.
I think this is obviously going to be interjected with lovely other comments. No, we don't have any toilet paper you can borrow. Just like to point that out right now.
Although we did steal 2 toilet rolls from Morocco and brought them back.
Yes.
Because we were worried about the shops.
I was going to say we borrowed them, but let's face it, once they've been used, they're not going back. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So a question that I've had, yes, thank you. I've had a number of questions. So first question is 3 most useful tips to leads and follows. So I'm going to do the lead part, and I'm going to talk for about a minute or so, whilst I then say to Zoe, try and think of some useful tips for the follows.
Sorry, I switched off for a minute.
I could tell you did.
Had a really long day at work.
So 3 most useful tips for leads to start. First of all, I was chatting to somebody earlier on today, and his main fear was that he was going to go wrong all the time. And I got him to lead a high first, and we did an underarm turn. as a normal high first would do. And then I got him to do a I got him to do a cradle with an underarm turn. I then got him to do a cradle with a slingshot at the end. And I said, which one of those was right or wrong? He was like, well, they were both perfectly fine. I was like, absolutely. So, but did you go wrong? Did you not go wrong? So my theory is, as long as you're not breaking your partner's arm or making it uncomfortable for anybody, then actually there's no real wrong way of doing anything. So yes, you can do things technically. Let me get better, but there's no wrong way of doing something, so don't worry about going wrong all the time. My other main tip for leads is it's much better to dance fewer moves in time with the music than hundreds of moves absolutely out of time in the music. So that's my second thing. And the third thing, more than anything else, is actually enjoy the dance and look like you're enjoying the dance as well, because if you're dancing and concentrating so much like this, then actually it's not going to be a pleasant experience for your partner. Talking about your partners,
I think for me, I would say ladies, be supportive of men, because quite often ladies can be quite critical. I have a lot of men who say that they've been put off by really bossy ladies, or ladies that try and take over and control the lead. So I think ladies, we want to allow the men to try and learn, especially if they're new to dancing, and not try to take control. However, in kind of reverse to that, when you have been dancing a while and you know your partner well, then it's really great for you to start to share some of the sort of leads. So Richard and I will be dancing, and then I will do something. Can't quite think of what at this moment, because it feels like I haven't danced in weeks.
I was laughing at Rose's comment, by the way, but yeah.
Nice tans. Oh no, I look pasty. 2 days and it's gone. So Richard and I will be dancing, and I'll kind of take over and do something and he has to wait for me. So it's quite nice then, because it's quite playful and you can actually have some fun. So ladies, maybe have the confidence to try some stuff out. And that links nicely into Desmond's previous question, which I think Richard may have missed.
I did.
Which was about what is my favourite sabotage move.
Oh, okay, I didn't say.
I don't know, do I sabotage too much?
Yes.
I can't think of my favourite. I do like to duck under quite a bit, maybe, on occasions. I'm trying to think now.
Yeah.
My problem is I literally haven't danced for about 4 weeks, so it's all a bit worrying. It's at the back of my mind already, so we need to get in the dance studio ourselves.
We will.
Now we're back.
Indeed. Before it goes off there, so Jonathan Davey, I love the silk elements of Ciroc Modern Jive. Would you say leading with the body is dependent on a strong frame and posture? My principle is always, and again I was chatting earlier about this, is that I personally as a lead would be leading with maybe 90% with my body, maybe 95% with my body. It's not necessarily just silk elements, it's just general dance elements. And actually in normal Ciroc we teach this on our local level as well. So absolutely move your body to move your partner is my basic principle. Try and use your arms as little as possible. Kirsty Longman says, I always tell the beginners, just relax and have fun. I've been dancing at Ciroc Dorset for a year now and always take the advice Brett gave me. Well done, Brett. Indeed.
Good advice.
So,
yeah,
good
having fun's
advice.
the main thing, for sure.
Yes,
That's what it's all
absolutely.
about, right?
Indeed so. Right. So yeah, lots of things going on. Right, next question then. How do you come up with fresh move ideas? I remember somebody saying to this many, many years ago, is that the main time that they came up with new moves is when something went wrong. And it kind of is that way to some degree. You kind of move your arm or your body in a certain way, and then it kind of goes into something different that you weren't actually expecting to happen. And then you kind of go, oh, how did I get to there? And then you go back to it and you work it out from that position there. So yeah, how do you come up with fresh new moves ideas? I suppose in lots of ways, me personally, I don't worry too much about the moves. For me personally, I try and think more about actually how I'm interpreting the music. And again, from the ladies' perspective, I'm pretty certain that they wouldn't really be thinking about, oh, that's another great move, but they'd be thinking about how is that matching with the music. So that's kind of where my priority lies, rather than thinking, oh, I haven't done 4,000 different moves in this particular track. So that's what I'd personally try and do. So yeah. But
Can you pass me that pen?
I can pass you that. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just tricky. There's loads of things coming in. I
There
need
is.
pen and paper.
And you go over there for that.
So, sabotage-wise, just jumping back because there's been some comments about sabotage. I think when the ladies have sabotage, you don't want to keep it going for too long, because it can be horrendous. So Dawn's question there, what's the best way to give back the lead after you've stolen it, is to do something, have a little play, and then just wait for the man to take back up the lead and control, because some ladies go on and on and on, and the poor man's like thinking, okay, I kind of want to get back to dancing again now, and that can be a bit off-putting. So yeah, not too much, ladies. Don't go too full on.
It's a fine balance. If the man, if it's an advanced man, for instance, then he will be quite possibly planning 8-16 beats ahead if he knows the track and he knows there's a break happening quite a long way in front. A bit like snooker players, the more advanced you are, the further ahead you practice, or you plan as such. And then if a lady does sabotage in between that section, then that can really put the man off. However, that's just the way life goes sometimes. But yeah, certainly, I know Danny Moore came out with or said a lovely thing about what she does is she embellishes. So what you should always try and do, ladies, as much as possible, rather than sabotage and ruin what the man's doing, is
add to it.
Add to it, absolutely. Put whatever you're going to do within what the man is doing. I often talk about the fact that in dancing, as a lead, I'm starting the first 20% off of any movement. It's then down to the ladies to finish off the other 80% of it. So you've got 80% ladies to work with. It's the man that says, please can you do this? It's then your decision to say, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And again, ladies, it's all about just playing and trying to go for it. Des has put, who do you admire on the dance circuit and why?
Ooh.
Cool, that's a good question. Isn't it?
Loads of people. That's really hard.
I think
pick one.
Like with lots of things, I don't think there's any one complete dancer. Everybody has their own strengths and their own weaknesses. Obviously, for me personally, my person I most admire in the dance world, of course, is Zoe. Let's go without that. Sorry,
that was Rich-worthy, Rich.
I'm just waiting for that to come.
Oh yeah, my darling husband,
yeah,
Richard.
Thank you.
No, I was thinking ladies. I mean, there's loads. I like loads of different styles of. I take little bits from everybody, really. It's really difficult. I don't want to name names because then I feel like I'm going to miss somebody out.
The main thing that I would say, people that inspire me to dance, I can think of certain moments that have inspired me over the years. I can think of certain times. Certain times, there's one of the Welsh champs when I saw a couple that just connected so well that literally for that minute's worth of their Jack and Jill they did, it was in the final. It was an amazing minute. I have no idea what they did, but the actual connection that I felt between their dancing is the thing that excited me more than anything else. It's great to see great moves. It's also great to see great connection. So there's lots of dancers out there, if I'm honest, that just do amazing things. So, okay. What's the next question? Sorry. Richard Chandler, I won't be offended if you don't say me. Good. Right. Next question. So how do you remember moves? Again, it's kind of, there's a variety of different ways in which I remember moves. What I generally think about for me personally as a lead is I don't remember moves necessarily. I remember starting positions and ending positions. I know we have in the Srock world the principle of having a starter, a main course and a pudding. So you can have the main part of a move, like a whip, for instance, but then you could have the entrance to the whip and the exit to the whip, and they could be lots of different bits and pieces that you could bolt on the end or bolt onto the beginning of it. So that's what I would personally do, is I'd think more about starting positions. So think about high first, twist your partner out to the side. What could you do from there? I know when I've gone through this with other people that have been round, we've come up with about 50 or 60 different things that you could do from that one position. And again, from a switch or a basket position or whatever it may be, then there's loads and loads of different variations. So I would think more about the actual main move and then think beginning and end and then just try and vary that up is how I personally would do it. So yeah, anything else to comment from over there?
No.
If not, I have the next important question.
Go for it.
Okay, so next important question, and some of these are better questions than others, so let me just point that out. We won't go on forever, by the way, just to let you know. How is my tax knowledge for 2020 limited? That's the answer to that question.
How's your tax knowledge?
How's my tax knowledge? Thank you to Simon for that particular one. So yeah, at the moment I'm not worried about much.
Got nothing to tax at the moment.
How am I managing to stay sane with no dancing? Obviously, we only came back on Monday night and there's been no dancing since then. And for me personally, over the last 2 or 3 days, I've gone into hibernation and just kind of try to deal with what's going on in the world, and this is kind of now coming out, really. Hello, not in that sort of way. Hello. But yeah, coming out, and yeah, we're back. So do come and join us.
So in my day job, that's taken up quite a lot at the moment of my time, because I work for a manufacturer called Appetito, and we make food for the elderly, care homes, hospitals, nurseries, and a lot of my focus at work is trying to make sure that we continue to be able to feed the elderly and sick, basically. And we've got a lot of staff going down, so we're trying to redeploy people, and that's taking up quite a lot of my time. So since I've been back, I haven't really had chance to think too much. It's kind of been more getting on with the day job.
And therefore I've been looking after B, our youngest daughter. So yeah, it's all been good fun.
Yeah.
Indeed. Right, Sarah's asked, what dance style would you most like to learn if you had the opportunity? One of the nicest videos I've seen was when Zoe was in Japan for a while, and she ended up...
You're taking the mic?
No. No. And I was watching her dance.
I thought I know what video you were going to say.
And I was watching her dance the waltz, and she looked like a graceful swan. I have tried the waltz, and let's say it didn't go very well. So yeah, I'd probably like to learn that, to do a bit more rise and fall, which is again very different to my current dance style. So
there was also another video where I looked like I'd blown up like a balloon. I blamed that on the camera angle, but I think it was the amount I was eating whilst living in Japan. I was like, oh.
No comment. So yeah. So Ivan said, question for Richard, when did you start dyeing your grey hair? It's taken a long time to get to this sort of level. For many years I did dye my hair, so it magically went grey overnight. I believe it's becoming more silver fox every time I get my hair cut. I'm just very lucky.
Grey.
The only good thing about my hair is that I have to have my hair thin because I have so much hair. Evening, Ivan. Desmond says, what's your favourite musical genres? Funky, swing, pop, expressive, chilled. For me personally, it's all about music that I can do something to. So I don't like music, whatever genre it is, that just plods the entire time. So whether it's swing, funky, chilled, slow, lyrical, whatever it may be, I'm happy with it as long as there's something in there that I can play with the music on. Because I want to dance to the music. I talk about a third series, which I probably won't get around to tonight, but I need the music to tell me to do stuff, so I can act, because I don't think about moves necessarily. So yeah, that's my favourite. It's just music that I can dance to that's got something about it. What's Tony saying? People have their favourite move or sequence of moves they love to put in a dance. What is yours and Zoe's favourite or signature move? I think probably the one that I like the most at the moment is our sway scissor kicks. So I bring Zoe in for a sway, and then we do a big kick up in the air, and Zoe's feet go about 12 foot in the air. So that's my favourite one. You? Yeah.
I quite like it. We've got, I quite like doing the splits sort of into a move, or just a simple duck under with a hair flick up. I really quite like that, when you do that sharp in time to the music. And my favourite kind of music is definitely chill out. I absolutely love chill out tracks. Can't stand the fast music at all now. In fact, I can't imagine what it would be like to go to a non-chill out freestyle. I've just got so used to Chippenham chill out and Swindon chill outs and the tea dances at Kington Langley, and obviously in Bristol the great freestyles there as well that are chill out zone. I think we're really lucky in the southwest to have that flavour.
We do. We have loads of amazing events in the West Country when we start again at some point in the future. So Desmond says, Zoe, are you surprised when leads do a drop? How do you exit safely?
I'm never really surprised when leads do a drop, because I always feel like I've got myself. I never enter into a drop. I can tell pretty much in the entrance to a dip or a drop if a man isn't secure, because I know exactly what it should feel like. So
is that because of when you do it with me, darling? Hesitation again. Let's move on.
So quite often, you know, if I'm helping Richard out with beginners in the garage or whatever, and we're going to do a dip or drop, I would never give them all my weight, whereas I can feel if someone's experienced and I can be more creative in it. So I would let myself go deeper or further. So I can just tell it feels secure, and therefore I guess if I don't know somebody, I go steady to start with until I've built up experience of dancing with that person, and then you learn together to get stronger
and if you want
bigger.
more about dips and drops, then episode 29 on my YouTube channel has got all about the safety and all that type of stuff on dips and drops. So do have a look at my YouTube channel, type in Richard Beauvoisin on YouTube, and there's loads of videos on there. There's about 40 videos on there at the moment, so do have a look at that. Lovely. We're gonna cull it in about 5 minutes, just to let you know.
I think what we should do is just put out to you guys to put in suggestions of what would you like to see us doing, because Richard and I have been having long conversations on the sofa about what can we do in this time, on one hand to keep our dance community together and to keep the spirit of what we do alive, because it's just a week of kind of starting to work from home and only just starting to shut down. We've got a long time ahead of us, potentially 3, 4, 5 months ahead of us. What are we all going to do to keep sane, to keep the spirit of Sarot going alive? And I know that Kieran and Danny and Kate and lots of other people have all been putting suggestions on Facebook, and Kate and Ivan as well. So everybody's really working hard to think up what they're going to do. I guess we'd like to hear from our local community, Sarot Live, Sarot Dance. What would you like to see from us? And also, we'll be honest, we need to generate a little bit of income over the next 6 months. Rich's income has totally disappeared, so that is difficult, and I know there are lots of other people out there as well who are in the same boat. We don't want charity necessarily, but we do want to feel like we can give people something, and if that is something that is useful and beneficial, then that would be really great. So
yeah, I mean, that's why I mentioned the video clinics earlier. So if you've got your £8 that you're used to spending per week, and there's a couple of you, then 15 quid or something like that. We haven't worked on prices for half an hour slot or something like that. Then we can do one-on-one effectively from the studio or from here, and I can give some help on that aspect. So
yeah, we'd really like to hear from you. If not today, in terms of suggestions in this chat, do message us or privately, or email us, whatever, to let us know sort of any ideas you've had, and obviously we'll advertise the things that we're going to do along the way, and you can keep in touch with us.
Absolutely. Right, time for just a few more questions then. Tony, I'm just going to ignore that one. So Desmond says, was there a class you taught and thought, well, that could have gone better? Too many to mention, really.
Sometimes when we start off way too high, like we've misjudged maybe the ability of a group, and sometimes because we really like doing certain moves and we want to impart that knowledge onto others, we've maybe pitched it
too high level,
perhaps too high, maybe especially if some people perhaps physically can't go in the splits or do something, then you've always got to offer an alternative. So maybe we've stretched people a little bit too far, although sometimes they've been some of people's favourite classes. They have something to aspire to work to. It's tricky. It
is tricky. I mean, just very quickly, I remember one of the classes which I had the most dread about was we were at Southport doing a masterclass, and we were doing a Wow Moves masterclass, and I looked around at the people, and it was fixed couples, and there was a couple there and we found out later they were in their mid-80s, and myself and Zoe looked at each other and were like, we know what we've got planned. They have no chance of ever doing any of this, and genuinely they were the best two in the class.
Never judge a book.
So yeah, I know everybody over 70 at the moment is quarantined as such, but yeah, if you're fit enough, then age is really irrelevant. So yeah, do keep going, everybody. This question, just very quickly, we've got a couple more to finish with. Why isn't marmalade called orange jam? Just like to answer that question. So I did Google this up, and the answer is jam is made using the pulp and juices of a fruit, whereas marmalade is made from citrus fruit and uses the juice and peel or rind, giving it the delicious chunky bits in it that make marmalade so tasty. Personally, I can't stand marmalade. It tastes really mean. But Zoe loves it. So yeah,
marmalade.
There we go. But I thought I'd answer that question for you, because I know that was really the highlight of everybody. It really is. So, yes. Thank you very much. Right, and last question, which we're going to finish off on this particular one, because no doubt we'll keep some of these questions for another question and answer session is, how did you and Zoe start off dancing? So I'll answer first of all, because Zoe's got a much longer history than I have. So yeah, when I was 23, so just a couple of years ago. When I was 23, somebody I was with at the time, they saw a busk in Chippenham. And they came back and said, oh, I saw this dancing stuff. And I said, let's go along. So I went along to the Gold Diggers nightclub in Chippenham, which was a terrible venue. There was no locks on the toilet doors because it was that type of nightclub. However, it was a fantastic way to start dancing. And Steve Clarkson was my original teacher. Love him still. He's still teaching out in Norwich. And yeah, so I started dancing as a normal person. I remember on the very first night learning to do an octopus. And when we had to do it facing the other way, couldn't do it for love nor money. So yeah, I started dancing that way. When I was 14, I watched the lovely Dirty Dancing and always knew that I wanted to be a dance teacher. And thankfully, after a very short period, became a dance teacher after I'd started dancing Sarok. So that's how I started dancing. And genuinely, every day that I dance, I feel incredibly lucky that this is what I do full time. So yeah, very lucky. What about yourself, Mrs. B?
Well, I started dancing when I was 3. When I was younger, I had positional talipes and my leg turned inwards. So when my mum came back from the Middle East with me, the doctor told us I was disabled in the Middle East, so she panicked and brought me home, and then the doctors put my right leg in cast, and the consultant at the time recommended to my mum that I did a ballet class because it would strengthen and turn my feet out when they were turning in. And so she put me to ballet at age 3, and then I did ballet modern tap growing up, and it just started from there. Ballroom when I lived in Japan, Latin ballroom when I was at university, and then found Sarok when I got too big to wear my leotard and tap shoes at the back of a traditional dance class.
Although that would be amusing for everybody to see, let's face it.
So actually I started with ginger jive, like competitors.
Yeah.
So yeah, I moved across to Sarok because it had more ladies styling and more sort of like moves for the ladies. So. And
a much better looking teacher. Well, there we go.
Yeah,
yes.
Maybe not go that.
No, let's not do that. So we've been going for just over half an hour now, so we'll call it a day there. We hope you've enjoyed the Q&A session. We'll try and do one at least once a week as we go through. And please do message us if you do want anything that you'd like us to do, or if you want me to do anything video clinic wise, or come around for privates while we still can move around. It's on a one-to-one basis, so you can come as a couple. That's no problem whatsoever. And yeah, we hope to see you again soon. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Richard Beauvoisin. There's loads of stuff on there. They'll be putting another video on very, very shortly as well. So thank you very much. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. We miss you all.
We do miss you all, and keep
Stay
well.
in touch.
Keep well. Bye.
Stay positive. We'll be back soon.
See you later.